The stories presented in this video are real, but we have changed the characters' names and altered images to protect their identities. The creator of this video is not an investigative officer. These narratives have been sourced from various internet platforms. Our intent is not to accuse or target anyone in particular. Thank you for understanding.
Welcome to True Crime Stories Hub. In July 2023, cops show up to a residence. The life of a guy is at stake. Lindsay Shiver, his wife, is charged with planning his murder. The proof? Her lover received a two-word WhatsApp message that read, "Kill him." On October 8, 1986, Lindsay Shirley was born in Dorothy City, Alabama, to Andy and Cecilia. Craig and Brandon were the names of her brothers. Lindsay had a regular life as a Southern girl growing up in Alabama. Lindsay lived in a culture that was heavily reliant on pageants. Lindsay competed in pageants for beauty pageants throughout the state. Lindsay was awarded Miss Houston County in Alabama by the age of 19, and she had previously placed second in the National Peanut Festival, where she was given a crown shaped like a shining peanut. Lindsay's brilliant eyes and shiny golden hair made it obvious that she was winning pageant awards. Lindsay began studying primary education with the goal of becoming a teacher in 2006 at Auburn University, a prominent university in Alabama. Lindsay appeared to be headed in the right direction. Lindsay was well-liked and had lots of friends at Auburn University. As a member of the cheer squad, she supported her favorite team and personified the Tigers' essence. Lindsay cherished going to fitness courses. Lindsay met Robert Shiver at one of these fitness classes. Robert was renowned for his extraordinary skill on the field while playing as a snapper for the Auburn Tigers football team. At first, it appeared as though the top cheerleader and the star football player were a match made in heaven. Before long, the two were spending every waking hour together as their romance bloomed. Aspiring athlete Robert Shiver had established himself at Auburn. He had made significant progress from being a walk-on to being awarded a 3-year scholarship and eventually being chosen team captain. Robert's career was taking off as his senior year drew near, and it didn't seem like anything could stop him. In 2010, motivated by his financial success and desire, Robert chose to sign as a free agent with the Atlanta Falcons. Lindsay and Robert became engaged after graduating from school that year, and they were married in 2011. The pair seemed to be living the picture-perfect existence to the outer world. Rhett, Landon, and Grayson were their 3 lovely sons. On the other hand, looks might be misleading. When Robert joined the NFL's Atlanta Falcons, his aspirations to play professional football were dashed. His career took a turn for the worse after his contract was ended, despite the fact that it had started out promising. Nevertheless, Robert achieved success in the business sector rather than moping in hopelessness. He rose to the position of vice president at Senior Life, an insurance company that paid him well. Lindsay was able to stay at home and raise the couple's kids because to Robert's successful work. They were able to enjoy the best things in life because of their extravagant lifestyle. They traveled widely, with the Bahamas being one of their favorite places to visit, ate at fancy restaurants, and were members of country clubs. A tropical island was the residence of Robert's affluent parents. In the world of the famous and wealthy, Baker's Bay, Bahamas, is a prominent location that draws the privileged due to its lavish lifestyle and private homes. Off the coast of Abacoa, this island paradise is well known for its immaculate beaches, calm waters, and VIP community. Robert and Lindsay would frequently take their private plane here to escape with their 3 sons. Without half ownership of a private plane and access to their private home in the Bahamas, Robert and Lindsay could not have enjoyed their opulent vacations. They were able to transport their families to and from the island anytime they wanted because of this combination of resources. They lived a life of luxury and wealth, with countless sources of income at their disposal. The private property of Robert's parents was located in Baker's Bay, Bahamas, just a short distance from the homes of Tom Brady and Michael Jackson. The wealthy and well-known from all over the world come to live on this exclusive island community because of its high-profile residents. For those looking for seclusion and quiet, Baker's Bay is a true paradise with its immaculate beaches, azure ocean, and opulent way of life. The ideal escape from their hectic lives was offered by Robert and Lindsay's regular trips to Baker's Bay. Surrounded by like-minded people who shared their affluence and liking for finer things, they could relax in the peace and quiet of the natural surroundings. The family would frequently spend their days visiting the island, relaxing by the pool, and socializing with their other wealthy neighbors. The pair made an effort to keep up a flawless public front. Despite their money and privilege, Robert and Lindsay presented themselves as a loving and contented family. But there were ominous clouds gathering behind the grins. Despite being married for 10 years, Robert and Lindsay's relationship seemed to have lost its spark. Lindsay was lured to another man because she yearned for excitement and adventure. He was a 28-year-old Bahamian named Terrence Bathel. Grabber's Bar and Grill, a popular hangout on Baker's Bay, the same island where the Shiver's holiday house was the scene of their tragic encounter. Lindsay's close friend claimed that she had become bored and unhappy in her marriage to Robert. To her, however, Terrence stood for something novel and fascinating. She had been longing for a hole in her life, and he filled it. Robert chose to take matters into his own hands, despite his suspicions that his wife was cheating on him. To track Lindsay to Baker's Bay, Bahamas, and record her every step, he engaged a private investigator. As a result of his diligent work, the detective was able to get incriminating photos of Lindsay with her boyfriend, Terrence. Equipped with the proof, Robert went up to Terrence and, in a somewhat sarcastic manner, thanked him for looking after his wife. Now that he had the evidence of his wife's adultery, Robert was becoming more and more irritated. He understood that in order to save himself from any more embarrassment, he had to dissolve their marriage. Robert filed for Lindsay's divorce on April 5, 2023. Robert stated in his court declaration that his decision was prompted by Lindsay's adulterous affair. Robert claims that the treachery was the final straw that caused him to dissolve their relationship. He asked the court to deny Lindsay alimony, claiming that she was physically capable of working. In addition, Robert asserted that Lindsay had a marketing degree from Auburn University, suggesting that she was financially independent. The demands made by Robert did not stop there. In addition, he requested possession of their house, furniture, and vehicle in Thomasville, Georgia, as well as primary care of his sons. Lindsay, however, had other ideas. She submitted her own divorce documents to the court on April 6th, one day later. Lindsay detailed the seriousness of Robert's actions in her divorce file, claiming that he had not only physically abused her but also tormented her emotionally and intellectually. She emphasized how crucial it was to shield herself and her kids from his destructive behavior. In response to Robert's alimony claims, Lindsay said that she had been a stay-at-home mother for so long that she had lost her career chances. Lindsay maintained that Robert should be held accountable for her unmanageable debts as she had given up her professional growth to support her family. Robert claimed that Lindsay had an affair with Terrence Bathel throughout this prolonged court dispute. Lindsay was eager to defend herself, though, claiming that she didn't start seeing Terrence until after she and Robert split up and he gave his legal approval. After 10 years of marriage and 3 kids, Lindsay and Robert's once friendly relationship had completely fallen apart. Despite the fact that their love and friendship relationships had long ago ended, the couple continued to live together in Thomasville, North Carolina, despite the bitterness that characterized their divorce procedures. Lindsay and Robert's hostility escalated as their divorce proceedings progressed. There didn't seem to be any inclination to compromise or find common ground, even though they both shared a devotion to their sons. Their long-standing hostility during their divorce procedures rendered any attempt at reconciliation pointless. Lindsay reported what she believed to be a physical incident between the two to the police on July 16, 2023. But a different story surfaced when the police showed up. According to Lindsay, Robert had denied her permission to travel to the Bahamas on the private aircraft to visit her boyfriend. According to Robert, Lindsay and her boyfriend had been arranging a trip to Key West, and he was going to take their sons to the Bahamas on the private aircraft. Lindsay, on the other hand, abruptly decided to join them on the plane. She told Robert she was going to the Bahamas to see her boyfriend instead of Key West. Robert resisted Lindsay's requests since he was a responsible husband and parent. He was adamant that he would not let her visit another man on the jet. Lindsay became even more enraged at this rejection, which made her exacerbate the situation. When the police officers saw how petty their fight was, it set the stage for what was to happen. As the evening wore on, Lindsay's ideas of revenge began to overtake her. She called her boyfriend Terrence on WhatsApp because she could no longer control her anger. In a startling change of events, she posted a picture of her husband along with a caption, "Grabber's Bar and Grill in Baker's Bay, Bahamas, was robbed 4 days after the incident at the couple's house. Armed with a strategic strategy and a strong sense of resolve, the robbers broke inside the establishment. They shut off the generators and severed the power wires, which essentially prevented the security camera footage from working. This calculated action guaranteed that their illegal activities would stay under the radar. The police saw a specific pattern emerge as they started looking into the heist. The robbers showed a remarkable understanding of Grabber's Bar and Grill's internal operations. They had clearly done extensive research because they knew just where to cut the lines and switch off the generator. They came to the conclusion that the heist was an inside job because the thief or thieves were working for the restaurant. As part of their investigation, detectives spoke with Terrence and interrogated the employees. They found a shocking piece of evidence when searching Terrence's phone. 4 days before, his girlfriend Lindsay had sent him a WhatsApp message. "Kill him," Lindsay said menacingly in this message, referring to her estranged husband, Robert. The investigation that began as a heist swiftly evolved into something far darker. Lindsay allegedly participated in a scheme to have Robert targeted and assassinated at his family's Baker's Bay house, according to the Bahamian police. Fearing for his life, Robert and his 3 kids took off for the United States right away. To put it mildly, the claim that Lindsay was planning to have her husband assassinated is startling and unsettling. Lindsay intended to have her husband assassinated in front of or close to their 3 children, if these accusations are accurate. This terrifying idea is unthinkable, especially from a mother. But it's crucial to keep in mind that, until proven guilty in a court of law, each party in this case is presumed innocent. Lindsay, Terrence, and Farron were detained and transported to Nassau on July 21st. All 3 were represented by the same lawyer, who entered a not guilty plea. Following the arrests, Lindsay Shiver was imprisoned at the notorious Fox Hill prison in Nassau, the Bahamas capital. Often called unfit for humanity, this prison holds not only common criminals but also the most dangerous inmates, such as serial killers. Remarkably, studies over the years have shown that there are a lot of problems inside the prison. Fox Hill has been plagued by a number of issues, including bed sores, mice, maggot infestations, overcrowding, and a lack of outside activity. The prisoners' cruel circumstances are made worse by the absence of necessities like toilet paper. Now imagine yourself in the position of Lindsay Shiver, a woman accustomed to a life of riches and luxury. Former beauty pageant competitor Lindsay was abruptly confined to a gloomy and lonely setting. Using a bucket instead of a toilet must have been a very startling experience for her, who had become accustomed to her private plane and many bathroom mini-mansions. What was Lindsay Shiver's opinion of the circumstances at Fox Hill? Was she able to remain calm and adjust to her new environment? Although it's impossible to truly know Lindsay's thinking, it's clear that anyone would find it difficult to be housed in a prison with such appalling conditions. Even though she came from a wealthy family, she would surely find Fox Hill's living standards to be very different from her own. Lindsay Shiver was freed from Fox Hill Prison on August 9, 2023, following the payment of $100,000 bail. Both Terrence, her lover, and Farron, the second alleged co-conspirator, were given $20,000 bail apiece. Lindsay Shiver's release conditions included wearing an ankle monitor, following a curfew, and checking in at local police stations 3 times a week. These steps were taken to make sure she followed the court's directives. The fact that Lindsay had to give the U.S. Embassy her passport essentially limited her freedom of movement. In addition, she was told to stay in the Bahamas until October 5, 2023, when she is due in court again. Lindsay was interviewed by the New York Post after being released. She acknowledged her difficulties despite the gravity of the issue, but she refused to further, citing the current legal proceedings. In an attempt to bring about a speedy settlement, Lindsay's lawyers asked the judge to expedite the legal proceedings of her case during the October hearing. However, the prosecution said they had not yet finished the voluntary bill of indictment, so the hearing was rescheduled for December. Lindsay begged the judge in December 2023 to let her go back to the United States so she could spend Christmas with her kids in Alabama. The court finally gave in, realizing the emotional toll this had taken on the whole family. Lindsay's release was subject to stringent requirements. Nevertheless, Lindsay was required to wear an ankle monitor at all times by the judge. By regularly monitoring her movements, this precaution made sure she complied with the conditions of her release. She was also prohibited from leaving Alabama, with the exception of any Georgia divorce or custody proceedings. These limitations were put in place to preserve the integrity of the ongoing court procedures and to safeguard her estranged spouse, Robert. The judge did give Lindsay some freedom in spite of the early limitations. She was permitted to stay in the U.S. until her trial in March 2024. Lindsay felt some relief from this capitulation. In contrast, Robert aimed to stop Lindsay from going back to the U.S. He told the judge that he was gravely worried about his safety and that he took the indictment seriously. Given the gravity of the accusations made against Lindsay, his concerns were reasonable. He had every reason to be concerned, considering the gravity of the atrocities committed against Lindsay. Lindsay's indictment was grave and gave a bleak picture of her motivations. How do you feel about Robert's anxieties? Were they warranted? Lindsay's lawyers, however, strongly disputed any misconduct on her part. He maintained that her innocence was established by the evidence used in court. He said that Robert unfairly singled out Lindsay as an innocent victim and wrongly implicated her. There was a noticeable sense of anticipation for this case because a trial was imminent. The people enthusiastically followed the newest developments and awaited the verdict as the proceedings progressed. Lindsay said that Robert was denying them access to their 3 sons in January 2024. Lindsay's family and loved ones were incensed and alarmed by this assertion. According to Lindsay's lawyers, she has been denied communication with her kids ever since she FaceTimed them over Christmas. To make matters worse, Lindsay's lawyers claimed that Robert had disconnected her from her money. According to Lindsay's lawyer, Lindsay was in a precarious situation because she had little access to funds. The trial drew closer as the days went by. On March 6, 2024, Lindsay's trial was supposed to begin, but destiny had other ideas. The trial was unexpectedly postponed until the summer by a Bahamas court. The trial was pushed once more, this time to March 2025, yet even this postponement was insufficient. Lindsay made appearances on Good Morning America and Inside Edition when she was in the United States and on bail. The judge in the Bahamas took notice of these public appearances and called them a spit in the face of justice. The judge was infuriated by this flagrant disrespect for the court proceedings and ordered Lindsay to return to Fox Hill Prison in the Bahamas. Lindsay's bond was also revoked by the judge. She was charged with moving from her assigned address at her parents' home in Alabama without permission, in violation of her bail terms. Now that he appears to be out of death's grasp, Robert is discovered lifeless in the arms of reality TV personality Savannah Crisley. Savannah Crisley is an American entrepreneur and reality TV personality. Along with her family, she became well known at a young age on the popular reality show Crisley Knows Best. Savannah, her brother Chase Crisley, and their parents, Todd and Julie Crisley, are the subjects of the episode. Savannah recently told People magazine that she and Robert had a fantastic relationship and that everything about their relationship was amazing. Legal issues are nothing new to Savannah's own family. Todd and Julia Crisley, her parents, were previously found guilty of bank and tax fraud and sent to prison. In November 2023, the pair made their romance public by posting private photos to Instagram. Robert Shivers and Savannah Crisley seem to have found happiness in their new relationship. Only time will tell what happens to everyone engaged in this case as it develops.